What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another World of Warcraft Dragonflight beta video. I really got myself hung up on that one, huh? In this video today, I want to answer the question, are the talent trees good? Are they bad? Do I like them? Do I hate them? Is Dragonflight going to be better because of them, or is it going to be worse? Is this going to improve WoW or ruin WoW forever? That's the question I want to address here, and there's a little bit of all of it, I think, and we're going to talk about it today in this video. But before we get started, guys, we are trying to raise funding for 6 months of ad-free content here on the channel, including brand new beginner's guides for Dragonflight, UI and add-on videos, live streams, and additional supporting content for all of those things. So if you're interested in trying to help us out, check the link in the description below for our Indiegogo campaign for Dragonflight Season 1 here on the channel and help make it happen. A little bit over 2/3 of the way to our goal, so we're pretty close. All right, so let's talk about talent trees. Yeah. So we're going to use Wowhead here to kind of illustrate some of the points that I have to make. But let me get this out of the way from the beginning so you can start dropping those hate comments, or you can start thinking about how you may agree with me. I think the talent trees are great. Great addition to World of Warcraft. An absolute game changer for me. And I think that there's going to be some pain points for a lot of people, especially modern players who aren't used to having to get this in depth into their class. But overall, I think they are a positive change, and that even in their potential worst form, they're probably still better than the talent trees we have. So let's jump into it here. We're going to switch over to Wowhead because I have pulled up the talent trees here on Wowhead. So we are looking at Protection Warrior, and I'm using this one because it's easy for me. I play a lot of Protection Warrior. I'm in here a lot. And I just wanted to kind of point out some of the issues, the problems, and things, the benefits of the different talent trees. And let's just get into it, okay? So in our current iteration of these talent trees, you have 10 choices to make, right? You have 10 rows, and on each row you make a choice, and you get one thing on that row, and that is the thing in your build. So you're making a total of 10 choices. All right, let's flip over here. Okay, this is the Protection Warrior talent tree for Dragonflight. You are making a lot of choices, okay? Way more than 10. Way more than 10 choices when it comes to your build. So you are automatically giving way more choice to the players with this type of talent tree compared to the other one. Now you may say, Set, there's gonna be a best build, and if you have a best build, then people don't really get a choice because they're gonna pick the best build. That happens whether you have this talent tree or you have this one, okay? That's not a problem that's going away. It's not a problem that I think the talent trees are intended to solve either, right? If there's a best build and people just want to follow a build, they're gonna follow the best build regardless of what system you have created for them. So put that aside. We know that's gonna happen. Let's talk about the people that don't follow the build. The people who want the freedom of choice, the people that want to do a couple tweaks here or there and change things and customize things. The fact that you just have more choices of doing that over here is generally, in my opinion, better. Now, there's a big caveat to that. A lot of your choices in this tree are abilities that you just have in this tree. So, for example, you don't have to pick Revenge in your talent tree over here. It's just an ability you have baseline as a warrior. But over here, you have to pick this. Now, this is good and bad for a couple of reasons, okay? So here's the reasons it's bad. You don't have as many abilities to start. You have to invest points into the talent tree to pick up abilities. Some of these abilities, frankly, are just super central to whatever rotation you're going to do on your character that they feel like mandatory choices. One thing you have to understand about these talent trees is that the closer the talent is to the top of the tree, the more Blizzard considers it to be an integral part of how you play that class, because you have to spend 8 points up here to even get into the next section. So you're going to get almost every single thing in this top tier when you're creating your talent build, and then a lot of your choices start to open up in the second tier, and then you have even fewer choices in the third tier. So, you know, having something like Revenge as your number 2 point, you literally have to take it in order to get into the talent tree. So is that really a choice? No. It's kind of filler on the talent tree for something you're given in the current iteration. So, yes, we are losing out on some baseline abilities that you then have to pick up, and you also have to know your class well enough to know that you need to pick them up in order to, you know, not kind of screw yourself on the talent tree, which is something you could potentially do. Here's a good reason for these being on the tree. You can opt out of mechanics that you don't like. If you understand what the result of opting out of that mechanic would be. Let's say that you're playing Protection Warrior and you're like, I never hit Last Stand. I don't use Last Stand. All I do is quest on Protection Warrior. I don't need Last Stand. You could totally opt out of Last Stand and just not pick it. And now you don't have to deal with it. I'm not saying that you do that, okay? I'm using it as an example. But you can opt out of a lot of abilities and mechanics that you just don't like. Not all of them, but quite a few. Whereas before, when those abilities were baseline, a lot of time you had to incorporate them. You couldn't make up the difference somewhere else. Now it's like, if I don't put points in the Last Stand and improving it, I can put those points into Shield Wall and making that better instead. Right? So you have some choice there where you can opt in and out of these different mechanics. And I think that's actually super cool. It means some people are absolutely going to screw themselves over and create a build that just doesn't function at all. But it also means that if you're not going to be raiding and you want to emphasize the abilities that are better for dungeons, then you could do that. Whereas over here, you know, you're looking at your options and it's like, I don't know. Like, which one do I want to take? Do I want more rage? Do I want shield slam, shield block stuff? Or do I want to make Last Stand and shield block better? I got to choose. But over here, you might be able to get all of those, right? And boost that one particular thing that you want to do. So I think having more choice over on this tree is awesome compared to over here. I think there's upsides and downsides, like I said, to having abilities on the tree that are baseline now. So, yeah. And the next point that I would make here is that you have the ability with this tree to make a build that really just hones in on exactly what you want to do. Sometimes when you're over here, you know, they tried to make like a couple of like utility rows where you have to take something that's not direct throughput in terms of just doing more damage or being more tanky. You got to take stuff like Bounding Stride or, you know, some kind of CC or Thunderclap Radius or Double Time, or you got to take something in here that doesn't just directly affect your survivability or your damage. And that's kind of the case over here in some places, but I think you're able to better emphasize not only that throughput, whether it's for healing, tanking, or actually doing damage. You're able to emphasize that, and you're able to emphasize it in the type of content and for the abilities that you enjoy. So if you're someone who just full-blown, like, you are a raider through and through, like, you can avoid some of the stuff that maybe on this row didn't feel like amazing. Like, you're like, you know what, I don't need any of these for raiding. Why do I have to take one? Well, over in this talent tree, there's a good chance you don't have to take them, and you could put those points somewhere else. Or if you're like me and everything I've been doing in the videos leading up to this one, where I'm trying to create builds for questing and leveling and solo play, well, there's a lot of these big raid abilities or dungeon abilities that I just don't have to invest into now. I don't have to worry about being stuck on a talent row where it's like I have to take something from this row, and I really, like, it doesn't help me in any way. Now, sometimes you'll get into the talent tree here and you'll be like, okay, to get to this node, I got to take this thing that I don't really want. But it doesn't feel as bad because you're investing 1 point out of 30 or 2 points out of 30 into something you don't want instead of 1 point out of 10. Right? So it doesn't feel like as much of your creative decision making is getting eaten up by having to invest a couple points into a thing you don't want. You're like, this 1 point, I could have put it into something cool, but I got to put it here so I can get to this thing. That doesn't feel too bad compared to, man, this entire row, I guess, I guess I'm just putting a point here, whatever. So I think that generally that feels pretty good. I like that. Now, like I said, with that ability to have that freedom to emphasize like where you want to go and the type of builds you want to create, you're also just going to end up in some situations where people are just going to pick all these random things and then their build's not really going to function. They're just going to have like a lot of active abilities that don't have the buffs that they need, or they'll be missing a couple active abilities that are really critical to something they're trying to do. But generally, I think that in most of those cases, either one, those people are going to be okay with experimenting and trying things out, or two, those people are going to follow a build guide. You know, whether they go and copy methods like protection or raiding a talent tree, or whether they come over to my channel and they get the solo questing leveling, build for whatever specialization they're playing, they'll just copy a build, right? And that's totally fine. So the last kind of big point that I want to make here, and it's one that I honestly think is like the most important for me, is that when it comes to this talent system here, your choices, you have 10 choices, but all of your choices are either or. You could take this or this. You could take this or this. You can't take this and this. You can't have Devastator and Punish and War Machine all at the same time. Like, no way. You can't get extra rage generation. You can't get Shield Slam increased damage. And you can't get Devastator to have your auto attacks resets Shield Slam. You can't do all of those. Pick one. Well, you know what? I could come over here on this tree and look. I can get War Machine. War Machine's right there. Okay, look. Let's go down. Bam. We got Devastator right here. Let's put some points in and get to it. There's Devastator. All right. And you know what? We've got the other ones in here too. This right here. Look. We can go right down and there's Punish. In this talent tree, I just got War Machine. I got Devastator. And I got Punish. And whether or not that makes a good build, I don't know. But the point is, there's almost no point of friction in these new talent trees where if you want to, you can't get any combination of things that you want. There's a few places, for example, you can't get Punish and Juggernaut, right? But these little choice trees are between two different abilities. And a lot of times those two different abilities are tuned towards two different things. They're not necessarily in direct conflict with each other. They either are for two abilities that are so different in what they're doing that it's pretty obvious I'll pick this one because it goes with what I'm doing, or they're choices for the same exact ability and you're just choosing like how do you want it to function, and you can't choose both. So it's not that there's no little friction in there, but there's so many places where you can look through here and like Best Serve Cold, Booming Voice, and Dragon Roar. Okay, can I get those? Well, Dragon Roar is called Thunderous Roar now. And to get to that, we've got to go down the talent tree here. So let's plug some stuff in and make our way down here. All right, so we get down here, put our points in, put some more points in. Let's just start throwing some points. Come on, come on. 20 points. Let's go. let's go. Okay, we're down there. So, bam, we got Dragon's Roar. What was the other ones? We need to get Booming Voice and Best Served Cold. Booming Voice. There we go. Best Served Cold. Look at that. Now look at this. I didn't change anything here. So we have War Machine, Punish, Devastator, Dragon Roar, Booming Voice, and Best Served Cold. We have 6 talents over in this build, where previously we could have only gotten 2 of them together. So for me, this is the huge game changer for builds and customization for Dragonflight. This is the thing that I think takes whatever's going on over here and just makes it amazing. And it just makes such a big difference for me. Now, there's one huge thing I am afraid of with these talent trees. And that is that either the vocal minority or people that are into a particular type of content are going to complain and whine to the point that it no longer becomes doing weird stuff and getting your things, but it just becomes, okay, you're a protection warrior. Do you want to be the shield protection warrior? Do you want to be the rage protection warrior? Or do you want to be the AoE protection warrior? And you just pick everything down that tree, and that's the only thing that makes sense. And there's no way to make your build cool or to diversify or to do odd things if you want to. And that is something that I am really just apprehensive about happening, because then at that point you're no longer really making your own build. You're basically, instead of having 10 choices of 3, you have 1 choice of 3. Do you go left, center, or right? And that's it. And most of the builds that I create are a mix of all 3. And it feels good to go down those and pick out the things that you want and be able to combine all these things that you couldn't combine before. It feels good to be able to, even if you got to take an ability you don't love, you don't have to invest into it too hard. And overall, I just think the talent system it's great. And then we got some additional stuff. We've got loadouts. So now you can actually this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a build for protection. It's going to be, hey, this is my solo generic questing build. Then I'm going to have a single target, rare elite killer build. Then I'm going to have a big AoE pull build. So if I decide, you know what, today I'm just going to go and try to pull 8 things every single time I pull, then it's going to emphasize that. Then I'm going to have my dungeon tanking build, and then I'll have variations of that, and I can save all these as loadouts. And the cool thing is that as of right now, making of this video, if you want to switch talent builds or you want to change talents, you don't have to have a tome anymore. You don't have to go to a rested place. You hit switch. There's a casting time on it, so you can't just instantly switch back and forth, and you can swap. So I can go around and quest, and I can go, you know what, this is a good area. It looks like this is going to be a spot where I'm just going to want to pull one thing at a time and nuke it down. And I could do my kind of single target focused questing build, then go to another area, and it's like, man, there's no way I'm not pulling 2-3 things at a time. Switch over to that. Oh, there's a rare spawn. Let me switch over and, get all my emphasis on taking down that one target, and then I could switch back. I'm going to go to a dungeon now. All right, let me switch to that. And so you can just change back and forth from all these different builds as needed with no real issues. And the build diversity here, I think it's going to make it so you can really emphasize that. It's not as simple as okay, so I'm going to take Ravager instead of taking something focused on Shield Slam, so I could do more AoE. It's not that simple. And then also we have the ability to share these loadouts through a code, much like you can share a deck in Hearthstone if you're familiar with that, so that if I have a build that I really like and enjoy, I can just send it over to someone in chat or through Discord or whatever, and they can plug it in, paste it into their talent build, and it'll paste right in for them. That kind of stuff is just super, super cool. And it's something that really wasn't necessary with this, where it's just just do 1 2 2 2 3 1 2. Right? And that's your talent build. But over here, it'll paste the whole thing in, and that's super cool. So I just wanted to kind of express my thoughts on the talent trees at this point in the beta and let you guys know what I thought. I think most of you who've been watching my videos would probably gather that my overall impression of the talent trees is positive. But I really wanted to take a minute and just talk about how positive I am about these talent trees. Whether or not I'm excited about Dragonflight and think that has good potential aside, I'm just talking about the talent trees themselves. I'm absolutely thrilled with this move. I think it's a fantastic move. It's made me so much more excited to play my class, play the different specializations, to create interesting builds. I absolutely love it. I think it's a return to form for World of Warcraft, and I honestly think that it's an improvement over what we used to have, prior to Mist of Pandaria. I think, I hope that over the course of the next couple expansions, as we do more than just set up the talent trees, it's going to get even more interesting. Maybe we just get more points or something. I think if we get more points without adding more tiers or more abilities, I don't know how that's all going to work in the future. But I'm just super positive about it, guys. And I think that you should be excited about it as well. Even if you're just the kind of person who wants to copy a build and you don't want to put your own, thoughts into it or anything like that. Like I still think we're going to get slightly more interesting builds out of this than we would have otherwise. And if you're someone like me who likes to experiment, you're going to be in heaven. And if you're someone who likes to play the weird stuff that I make, then you'll also be in heaven. So that's what I have to say about the talent trees at this point in time. I definitely will keep you guys updated. If my opinion radically changes because of something Blizzard does, I'll release another video. Otherwise, I'm just excited to start making these builds and to actually get to play them with all the add-ons and everything when Dragonflight comes out later this year. So don't forget, you guys, before we end here, like I said, we're trying to fund 6 months of ad-free content here on the channel. That's going to be new beginner's guides for Dragonflights, new UI add-on videos, live streams, and supporting materials and resources for you guys. So if that's exciting to you, if you've enjoyed my guides in the past, or you want to support the channel and help bring all that content to everybody, hit the link in the description below for the Indiegogo campaign for Dragonflight Season 1 here on the channel. We're over 2/3 of the way to our goal. We're super close. So any help you can offer is appreciated. Otherwise, that's all I got for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next one.